All right, everybody, welcome back to episode 17 of the Killstreaks and Kickoffs Podcast. Once again, we are here reviewing Major 2 has finally happened. It has been completed. Atlanta FaZe came out on top, I'm sure, as everybody kind of knows by now. They get their second major win of the season so far. They took Major 1 in Madrid, and then they head to Dallas here and take this one as well. So they are on quite the run. That's their third tournament in a row, as they won EWC Esports World Cup at the end of last year, and then coming to this year hot, obviously, and winning both of those. So great tournament from FaZe. We will get there, but first and foremost, I am joined today by Drew. Once again here, Drew, how are we feeling today on this fine, what is it, Wednesday?
Feeling great, man. Sun's out. Great day. Take a little bit of time off COD and I actually hopped back on COD.
Last night?
So, getting back on the sticks. Because somebody's gotta knock off this FaZe team. So I guess it's gonna be me.
Yeah.
Gonna
Yep.
have to be me.
OPTIC might need you. A lot of these teams might be able to use you.
Why'd you put might in front of Optic, buddy? They need my ass.
That they do. Now a lot of these fucking teams need a lot of different people, and there are going to be a lot of changes here. So that's what I want to get into here first. Just we're gonna kind of hop into Rostermania and review all the teams that are making changes. I think we've got about 6 teams making a change, or at least rumored to be right now at the moment. This is still kind of early on in the week because we had a lot of news like break last night and then early this morning. So we're just kind of at a point right now where we're gonna look at what we know is on the table and go through everything, see what teams are looking like, what the rumors are looking like, and then things are subject to change. But if it does, we'll cover it next week. No big deal.
Can I say before we hop into Rostermania, like, what is your initial reaction to FaZe winning this? Like, overall, just because I think we're gonna go match by match, but just to
Yeah,
start, I think we both had FaZe or two, and it didn't surprise me all that. Like, I wouldn't if you told me before we did our last episode that, hey, FaZe is gonna win this, um, I would have been like not too surprised, honestly. But the manner it went down really surprised me, is how I would phrase it.
yeah. Well,
I don't know
like,
what your thoughts
I
are.
mean, what we literally said last week, like this Atlanta FaZe team is still very dangerous, especially because everybody was kind of writing them off as like the clear-cut runner-up this
Yeah.
tournament, and we know how FaZe plays when they have a chip on their shoulder, and so I'm not shocked at all. I'm in the same boat as you. I'm not shocked that they won this. Like, obviously, Thieves getting knocked out, relatively early than what we were expecting probably helps. I would have loved to see like a rematch in the grand finals of FaZe versus Thieves. I think that would have been a lot more exciting. But it was still cool to see, like, obviously the surge run, and we'll get there for sure. But yeah, no, I'm not surprised with this either at all. Like, this is, you could have told me last week that FaZe was gonna win, and I would have not batted an eye at that. So that's my thoughts
Yeah.
on it. But but yeah, no, we'll get into it. We'll get into the run that they made in grand finals and talk about this team a little bit more. But like I said, do want to hop here into the roster mania, and we're gonna kick it off with probably the biggest change. Obviously, well, it's kind of a small change because it's not really a change. It's a change back to what we had. But obviously it's optics. Everybody's kind of talking about it. HUKE is back on optic in place of Pred. Pred is no longer on optic anymore. Going to be replaced by HUKE here. He tweeted out the joined Optic Texas. It's probably, I guess what, this is the third time he's tweeted that out in the past 3 years. So, but he's back once again here. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think this is a little bit odd of a change personally, like why they would have just dropped him in the first place. But at the same time, it makes sense though, because like I was on the bandwagon. I don't know if you were, but I was on the camp that it was like you run back the world championship roster, and that's what I was saying back then. So I agreed with like the pred change back when they did that. So it makes sense. At the same time, you gave it a chance. You saw that it clearly didn't work. I mean, we saw the worst team in the CDL after that change was made. So it clearly didn't work, and now they're just kind of going back to it because I mean they did have a little bit of
Is that? But,
success, huh?
but was that a Pred issue?
What do you
Like
mean?
that's my issue with that is that like yes, the team was abysmal and it was after that change, but like to say that when HUKE was on the team that he carried them in that fucking first major, and any successes they had in that first major was from HUKE, and the other rest of the guys were not playing up to par, and then they switched him out, and Fred definitely played the best this past weekend. So like,
Yeah,
well, what are we gonna do? Continue swapping the carry and not really address that like that their fucking beloved son Shotzi's not playing up to par, and like Dashy, like I don't know, like I think they're kind of hot take from me. I think they're just sugarcoating shit.
I don't know.
Um,
Well, okay, so let me
and
just
Shotzi
say,
loves Hoop.
yeah, no, that definitely plays a factor. But let me just say, I know that like Pred was like statistically one of their better players. It was clear that
Yes, but
that they weren't like playing the game the right way. So however the hell he was going positive in that system, I don't know what was going on, but it wasn't like winning COD the way that they were playing. So um, granted, he was
I could
doing
agree there.
well, but it wasn't like
And
I don't know. The whole team wasn't playing the way that they needed to be playing. So I understand that change.
and
Go ahead.
and I will say I saw some clips of I don't know who Karma was talking to today, but they were saying that like they were kind of acting like Fred was restraining their map pool and
Yeah,
what they could play, and
because he
like
hasn't
he
played
was
in
causing like
2 months. He hadn't played in 2 months. So like
yeah,
there, there
but
there's
so like I
restrictions
can
there.
understand that part of it, but I think my point on this is just like what like I mean the first comment sums it up well. Like what the fuck are they doing?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Um,
No. Like
like make up your mind. I don't think this changes anything. Like
nah.
realistically, that team did go on a generational losing streak, but that wasn't them either, in my opinion. They would have found some middle ground of like being a mid-pack team, but I don't think these changes that were just made affect that at all.
I think you're back to like
But
square major one post Madrid 8th place at LAN placing. So it's like you're not any
yeah,
better or any worse than you were off, in my opinion.
and that's a
Um,
and that's a disappointment for Optic.
yeah. But bottom line is, I don't think like they're never gonna drop Dashi. Respectfully is the best player. I don't think you should ever drop Dashi in a million years. He's been the most consistent AR like for this team ever. So I'm never dropping Dashi. Uh, you do have kind of a good point. Like Shotzi's kind of their poster boy. They're never gonna drop Shotzi. It's Optic. It's the biggest content org, and Shotzi's the biggest content creator pro player right now. So he is never getting dropped. He's also a superstar too when he's on. So granted, I agree he has not been good, but he also has that superstar potential. And so that combined with the fact that like who Shotzi is, he's never getting dropped. So Shotzi and Dashi are probably never going to leave Optic unless they do so on their own accord. And I don't know. The only other thing, like realistically, that I could have seen happen here with this HUKE move was maybe drop like going back tracking on the skies change and like moving Pred to like a flex AR instead of having skies on this roster and then just bringing HUKE in to play like a true sub. That's maybe the
Yeah.
only alternative I see with this move, but I don't know. They must have saw some
No,
hope
I
with
don't hate
with
it. I'm just
skies.
saying. I guess my point with the whole Shotzi Dashy thing is just that like oh, like you can't throw away the resume, and I'm not throwing away the resume, and I'm not calling for them to get dropped. But like, let me just put it in, side by side terms. Okay, Luca and LeBron are in a playoff series, and they're just not playing up to the level, and they're getting beat. If I'm Stephen A, I'm Stephen A. If I'm Stephen A, I'm not hopping on first take and giving Luca and LeBron some, I mean, like I'm letting them have it. They're the superstars, and that's what superstars get. Is superstars deserve the flag, and you know what I mean. Like this team's not playing up to their par, and they have to take some of that brunt. And I think everybody else is just getting absolutely blasted around him, and it's kind of like when LeBron just trades everybody around him. Like this is D'Lo, Fred's
Yeah.
D'Lo. Like it's just sending other people out and forcing the blame other places to the coaches to blah 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 blah. But like at a point, Optic needs to like look back and be like, bro, our big dog's not playing like our big dogs, and we're not going to get to where we want to get to unless they come back. So you can make all the changes we want, but like, you know what I mean? Like these guys need
Yeah.
to start locking in.
There's a certain level of play that they need to return to if this
Yeah,
team, regardless of roster, wants to do anything. So,
yeah.
no,
That's all my thoughts on
I,
Optic.
I definitely agree with you there. But But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say right now with the OPTIC change. Again, it's like a change back, so there's not a whole lot you can say about it. We'll just see how this dynamic works with HUKE and Skies joining instead of what we've seen in the past. But definitely interested, I guess, to see if they can improve and move forward. But let's move on here to LAG, the next roster change here. LAG is finally saying goodbye to Linz, which I think is a long time coming for the most part. I think he's been respectable through like Major 1, and then as Major 2 started to move on, it became evident that we just needed to say goodbye to him, or LAG needed to say goodbye to him. So they're going to be targeting Ojani out of challengers. I think he was on the Omit squad that won the Major 2 challengers event. So they're gonna be bringing in Ojani. It looks like here. Obviously, all these ones that are like sources, Gentlemate's targeting, those are like subject to change. So we're not sure if those will happen. But as of right now, this is what it's looking like. But this is what we're seeing. As for this change itself, this one kind of pisses me off, just because like why are we deciding now that we can okay, we don't need a French player on our roster anymore. Like why did it take major 2 that you knew you were going to get dead last at? Why did it take going there and getting last for you to make that decision? Like we all could have told you this was going to happen, and if you would have just listened, you could have had fucking HUKE. You could have had HUKE in here for Linz. Now, granted, I don't know if HUKE would have played for them, and I don't know if there was an offer to HUKE on the table for this squad, but I doubt there was. I don't know. It's up for debate if HUKE would have accepted that or not. But you could have had an offer to HUKE. Like you just miss so many opportunities because you're so timid, so lazy, so scared to make a change and get rid of this. And then by the time you make a change, your options that you could have had are just gone. So it's like I don't know. This change is just so stupid for me. You're at a disadvantage now to qual for champs. Like it's gonna be really hard for them to make it. It just doesn't make a whole lot of sense. I also think this was like being a one man change right now for Linz is not enough. I think you should bring in Fellow for Priesta and just kind of complete the squad wipe here and build around like get a Fellow would be Fellow Johnny Kismet and Lunars on this squad, at least get some unknown variables in there to start, seeing what you guys can do rather than just sitting on your ass. But that's my thoughts on this change.
I mean, I agree with you, but like it's just such a this is such a disappointing season. Like Lens, tell me if I'm wrong, but I felt like Lens was a very like it was something I was interested going into the season. He looked good last year. I didn't mind them building around him, like, and just hope he continues to get better. Because if an org like this just has to like hit on something that they built in house, and so I didn't mind it. And then once you like, that's the part that scares me about like teams building around one certain player is that like exactly this, and is that like they just fall off, and then you have such a commitment as like this person built this team in the off season, or like this was the person we wanted to keep, and you have such an attachment to them that you are too scared to get rid of them when they are a bust. So yeah, I don't know. This team's chalked. I don't have too many thoughts
Yeah, I
about them.
mean, it literally like it happens in sports too, like NFL, bro. These guys are the fucking Giants with Daniel Jones, bro. You bought into
Yeah,
Daniel Jones, you bought into Lind, didn't pan out, didn't get better. You had hopes for him to get better, and obviously, you know, I don't know. Linz wasn't like he wasn't bad at all last year. I think he was like worthy of at least taking a chance on, going forward, but he just didn't progress at all when this game came around, and you just have to like be able to chalk up your
you have to cut
losses.
ties. Yeah, you literally have to cut ties.
Yeah,
It truly is a high draft pick in an NFL draft that never
doesn't pan
pans
out.
out.
Yep, exactly.
And these teams hang on for too long, and then you're just stuck in purgatory.
Yeah,
It's exact comparison.
yep.
So
So, yeah, I don't know.
cut your
We'll see.
ties, move on, see if you
Yeah,
can find something else that works. Yeah,
yeah. So, we'll see what they do. I don't know if this will be the only change they make. I think they should make one more as well, but Sucks to see. Sounds like Linz is going to go
That'll-
into challengers though and compete there. So I don't know. Maybe he'll improve there as well. But I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my thoughts there on the LAG
And
change
they'll
here.
they'll make their next change for Priesta after they get last of the next major.
Yeah, right. If they don't do it before then that'll happen. I'm sure by the time that they're completely mathematically eliminated out of champs. But yeah, let's move on here to Miami. We've got this one's stupid, man. We've got Miami Super coming in for Lucky. Obviously, we said get rid of Lucky, but this is so dumb. He's just coming up off of their bench to replace Lucky on the starting lineup right now. This does absolutely nothing for this team, in my opinion. Um, what I said last week or the week before, I don't remember when I said it. Lucky and Metals, both the ARs, need to be gone. This Miami Heretics team needs to give up on the regional bullshit and pick up 2 challengers ARs right now, take a chance on them, pair them up with Real and Rancor. That is the only move that could potentially make this team any better. Shit like this does not make this Miami Heretics roster better at all. Makes them arguably worse, but at best the exact same as they are because I mean, what we've seen in their wins, Real and Rancor doing well. What we see in their losses, Real and Rancor doing bad. It has absolutely nothing to do with the ARs because they are non-factors in their wins or losses right now, and it's gonna keep staying that way if you keep these guys in this camp on this team and you stay committed to this Spanish bullshit that you're so committed to for whatever reason. Cut the act. You've got 2 Spanish players. I don't know why the whole roster has to be. Cut the act. You've got 2 Spanish players on the team right now that you have found are potential superstars or at least really good players in the league right now that you could potentially build around and start taking some chances, man. It's just so stupid. The team just doesn't get any better or worse with this change. I don't know what the hell the point is or what they think is going to happen with this.
You handled it well. I'm more interested in the next move, so I got no thoughts on that one.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing you can say about this. This is such a lazy, boring change that just
They're a lazy, boring team. It's so obvious. You think they're
yeah,
gonna fucking do something crazy? It's Miami Heretics. Boring. Move
yeah,
on. At
yeah,
least go to a team with some balls.
yeah. So I have no expectations for this Miami team, but let's move on here to the Rocker change. And Rocker, this is the first one that I'm not really gonna fully tear into or criticize a whole lot. They're
Some
bringing in,
balls.
huh?
Some balls on a team here. Thank you.
Yeah, they're gonna bring in Arcides in for Paulex, and we've been saying Paulex has not been looking good. They're one piece away from potentially improving, and they're finally gonna do that and make that jump. And this is one that makes sense because this Rocker team is by no means out of champs. They're still in that kind of race for qualification very easily. So. They had a little bit of breathing room, granted, because they've had some signs of decent play so
Right.
far, and so they've been able to accumulate at least a respectable amount of CDL points for qualifying, and so they had a bit of leniency there to wait at least until after Major 2, but good on them. They didn't wait longer than they needed to, and they're gonna make a change here.
I love it. The second they got dog walked by Optic, one of the top 2 worst teams, and they literally got dog walked first round losers. No, we're out. We're
Yeah,
out. We're done. Need change needed. Paul X, worst player. Let's bring in maybe one of the best, obviously one of the best players in challengers.
yeah.
Insert new life.
Yeah, I mean, it's just what we've been saying. Like this team doesn't need to blow it up. They just needed that one piece, and they went to challenges and got that one piece in Arcides, who I think is very respectable. He won the challengers world champs last year. He's got 2 rings in the CDL in the past. Very experienced veteran to be bringing into this roster to pair with guys like Geo and Estriel, and obviously Nero. A bit more experienced than those 2, but. Still, a nice leadership figure to be put in here. I do think, ideally, I would have gone with Fellow here for this role. I think Fellow's the best fit for this team and the best fit for a lot of
Fellow's
teams.
doing something. This is there's been way too many chances for Fellow to get in.
Yeah,
There's something going on.
yeah, I
With
don't know.
Fellow.
I don't know if he's declining offers or waiting for the right opportunity or an opportunity that wants to, but this is probably the most prime opportunity that you could have had. So maybe they just went in a different direction, though. I don't know. Arcides is still extremely respectable of a player, and he's been playing well in challengers as
I love
well.
playing challengers right now.
Yeah, he was on the team that won champs, or the team that won the major two. So yeah, I mean. I don't know. It is what it is. I think Arcides will be a great fit for this team, and I'm definitely excited to see if they can actually improve, like we kind of been saying they need to with that one piece change. So I like this. I like this change a lot for Rocker.
Yep.
But yeah, if that's all you've got, that's all I've got with that one. And then let's move on here to one that has been potentially walked back here. Last night, some sources were saying that Kenny was in talks with the Carolina Royal Ravens to come in and replace Reese Vivid here at the Flex AR spot. Apparently, as of this morning, Zuma has said that he's been hearing that this change has been walked back. There were contract negotiation issues or something, buyouts. I don't know. Well, probably not buyouts because I mean, chances are OPTIC probably just terminated Kenny's contract. But I don't know exactly what it was. They couldn't come to an agreement from what it sounds like. So it doesn't sound like this is going to be happening. Um, I don't know. If this did happen, this is definitely like a pack-a-punch situation for Carolina because Vivid has not been playing bad for this team by any means. Like he's not really like they don't have a whole lot of problems other than Gwyn not showing up to LAN, which we'll get there. But I don't think Vivid was like a clear-cut problem for this team by any means. It's just more of like a pack-a-punch, bringing in like a world champion like Kenny that could potentially improve this team a little bit more. So I don't know. It doesn't sound like it's gonna happen. If it does, whatever. But I don't know. What are your thoughts on this potentially happening or not happening?
I would have really liked it for Ravens, but like I mean, yeah, like I said, Vivid's not an issue. I think they needed the next step, and I think Kenny would have fit great on this team. Um, but walk back, and I'm not mad about Kenny just taking a little bit break from COD, to be honest.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I don't have a whole lot of thoughts. It's not happening. So,
Yep. Doesn't sound like that will be the case for this one, but yeah, and then the next two are well, the first one that I've got here, I'll just pull up the Vegas Falcons Instagram page here because we haven't had like any official announcement on this yet or anything, but apparently Vegas Falcons word on the street is they are finally blowing it up and gonna be throwing a bag to some NA talent. I think Xnid is the only guy right now that is staying on this team, and that's probably the only guy that even has an inkling of deservingness. I don't know what word to use there, but he's really the only person that has potential to deserve a spot here still on this roster if you are squad wiping it right now. And so I think they're going to be keeping him and then picking up three from NA Challengers talent or something like that. There's no names right now, but like I said, you got to think Falcons, oil money. They're going to be throwing a bag to whatever big names are available or what they can do. I don't know if they'll try potential buyouts with players on rosters or just try and get the best of the best of challengers. I mean, you've got Pred now, free agent potentially. You've got guys like Fellow, guys like Illy. I don't know. I don't really know what the hell they're going to do, so there's not a whole lot we can sit here and speculate about. But I think the bottom line is it just doesn't make sense. Why would you do this after it's like almost mathematically impossible for you to qualify for champs? Like these guys have to go in and like win every event if they want any shot of making champs now, realistically. So they're just at such a disadvantage. This is weird. Doesn't make a whole lot of sense unless you're like just trying to like build something, I guess, going into next year. But yeah, I don't know.
yeah, I don't have thoughts on Vegas. They don't tickle my fancy
Yeah, I
at
mean,
all.
if
I want to see something actually happen before I talk about them.
yeah, I mean, if they do actually make a change here and bring in like put together a somewhat decent roster, I'm definitely very excited to see like what big names they
Yeah,
bring in because they have a
I'm
lot of
super
money.
excited. They've got the bread,
Hmm.
and these teams that are region locking themselves have to look each other in the mirror. Like, thank you, Vegas. it's exactly what we were just talking about with Gentlemates. It's like you tried it, it fucking was a disaster. Blow it up, blow it the fuck up. Um, region locking yourself is so stupid, and just abandon it before you commit even more time to this stupid idea.
Yeah. So I don't know. We'll see what they do. We'll see if this actually comes true because I couldn't find like a specific tweet. I've just heard like chatter on live streams and stuff like that in terms of what this team's gonna be doing. So we'll see if anything actually comes out about it. But then last thing, this is a non-change here that I'll get into a little bit here right now. I'll talk more so about it when we get to their matches that they played. But apparently, Boston Breach, somebody who I was advocating for a change for quite a couple of weeks now, I guess, and you as well, Drew, um, isn't making a change. Apparently they saw their top six placement at the tournament, and think that this team is on the verge of being a contender somehow. So I don't know. These guys are smoking that chronic. They are faded out their minds if they think that's the case with this roster right here. Um, this roster is not a contender roster. I'm sorry. I don't know who needs to tell it to them, but I'll do it right here, right now. This roster is not peaking any higher than what they did this past event. They're not making a Sunday. Drew, I think you have you still have the bet on this team, right? If they make
Yeah, I was sweating. I
yeah,
was sweating a little bit this weekend.
yeah.
Kind of forgot. And the funny thing is, I kind of forgot about it, and I was rooting for them. And I think the series
Yeah.
they lost. Let me find that. Yeah, they fought in this in their Surge series,
Yeah.
um, which had me shook a little bit. But yeah, it definitely should have been a Cammy change. I felt like, but other than that, like Awakening looked really good this weekend. I thought Snoopy looked good. Um, yeah, I don't know, but there should have been something. You can't just be content with what happened. Like Purge also could have been a change. So
Yeah.
I
I don't
don't know.
know.
Whatever. They'll just rock and be mid. That's fine.
Yeah, I'll get into them a little bit more. I think I have some more notes on my thoughts on this, but since it's a non-change, we'll talk about it when we get there. But yeah, that's pretty much all the news as of right now that I've caught us up to, I guess, at least. Or what we've been caught up to, what news has broken as of time of recording this here. So let's just jump into the matches now and kind of talk about what's been going or what happened in the tournament, how each team did, where everybody uh, got knocked out, all that good stuff. But let's kick it off here first with day one, match one, Carolina versus Vancouver, and Vancouver here is going to take down Surge 3-0. Yeah, I mean, we got this one wrong. I kind of just thought that Carolina was going to come out. They had made that top four run at the tournament before, so I gave him that benefit of the doubt, but I don't know how we didn't read it. Gwyn is an onliner. I don't know how we didn't read that. I don't know. I just kind of expected like the other experience on the roster with like Slasher, Tej, to be able to carry this team if Gwyn actually didn't show up. But the problem is, and I think this has kind of become clear with this tournament, Gwyn is their X factor. He's their superstar, and if he doesn't show up on land, they're not going to be able to win events, much less place better than they did at this one. So other than that, this is a huge debut, like LAN series for this Vancouver roster here. They get it done against them pretty easily. Obviously, that hardpoint was a little bit close, but for the most part, they got a green carpet here. They got a red carpet. They did their thing, and got the job done. So great series from Surge, and just disappointing from Carolina.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
I was very caught off guard by that. But I mean, Neptune. I'll talk about him more later, I think.
yeah,
But yeah, that was that was the glimpse into like what Surge was about to do.
yeah. So
We weren't caught too off guard by this Surge run, but I think we
no,
had them losing it. So
yeah, no. We had them losing this one, I think. So, but we not caught off guard
we
by
knew
them
this was
going
gonna be a
far. Yeah,
and hey, first game of the weekend, curse.
yeah.
If you're a avid listener to the Killstreaks and Kickoffs podcast, you obviously went against that one in your picks
Yep.
because it's just a curse. So
This is like the fourth week in a row I think that we picked the first match of the weekend wrong.
yep.
So yeah, if you do listen, just pick the exact opposite of what we say for the first match, and then you should be good. But yeah, let's move on here to the Cloud9 versus Toronto series. Cloud9 comes out strong, man. They 3-0 Toronto Ultra. That being said, this is the closest 3-0 like ever. They win the hard point by 2 points. They win the search in around 11, and then they win an overtime control here. So yeah, pretty close. There is kind of like a clear discrepancy here in the KDs in terms of the slaying department of Cloud9 versus Toronto. So I'm surprised that these maps were as close as they were, but yeah, I don't know. They did ice up, and they did win three in a row, obviously, and so that there's definitely some merit to that for sure. I am really bummed with C9's draw, for the rest of the tournament, because after this they literally play FaZe and Thieves, and we'll get to those matches as well. But going like after this series, I really thought that if they were to clean some things up with what I saw from here, get some more comfortable wins, they really could have made a run to Sunday. And obviously that wasn't the case. They played.
Yeah, they got a horrible draw,
I mean,
especially with
Thieves losing
Breach
sucked for them.
beating.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah,
So that's just a real bummer for this Cloud9 team. I feel like that's kind of been happening to them a lot so far. Like they've been getting screwed by the way these brackets have been falling their way, and the way like certain teams have been going. But I mean, at the end of the day, if you want to be the best, you got to beat the best. So they definitely had an opportunity to do that here in this tournament, but unfortunately weren't able to. But we'll get there. But Drew, any thoughts on this series?
no. It's funny we talk about Surge right here. On one hand, um, Surge showed us what they're going to do this weekend, and then Ultra was the opposite. Like they lost this first game, but that regather
Yeah.
was sensational. Um, so yeah, I think Cloud9 kind of got screwed. I like the team; they're really heating up, and beating this Ultra team, especially this weekend, is like something to pat yourself on the back on. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they shut these guys down. So pretty impressive.
Mhm. Definitely.
Yeah,
But yeah,
they
good
were
day
they
one
were close
series.
games though too. I mean, look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I was saying. This is like
So
as close as it can get aside from maybe the hard point being 249, 250. But
yeah,
yeah, they get it done in a 3-0 though nonetheless. And then let's move on to I want to go to all matches. Okay. It's so annoying. Like the thing at the
yeah,
top
yeah.
here, it doesn't go until the phase one. So just one more match of this, me having to go through here to click. But it's this Thieves Breach match that we were just mentioning here. Breach comes in
Big
and
one.
shocks LA Thieves. Did not expect this, of course. Thieves just really came out
Uh,
flat in the hard points. And by the time that they were able to like lock in to some extent, it was just over by then. Breach was able to ice up and take those maps. But yeah, it just costed them the series. Um, and so I don't know. I'm not gonna sit here and like glaze Boston for this win because I think LA Thieves just simply lost this map. This was not the team that we had saw the entirety of the stage so far. They came out flat. They came out unprepared, and just not mentally locked in to win this series, and it showed. Showed even in the listening, man. They just sounded dead. To be completely honest. Yeah, I don't know. That being said, though, it was a great series from Snoopy. I will give him that. Drops 101 kills, 1.19 on the series. Clear MVP of this one here. So I've been saying build around this kid going forward, and definitely showed out on this one. But yeah, just a huge shocker. Did not expect this at all.
yeah. Yeah, they were sleepwalking and they sleptwalked the other game when they got eliminated. There was just two different teams from LA Thieves this weekend, and this is the first time we've seen this from them. This was very disappointing and very. I could see them cutting the bullshit after what they did this weekend. Those were abysmal games, and I don't have any research to back this. Research department couldn't get the data to me, but there's some teams that Hydra plays down to teams a lot.
Mm,
Like Scrap always gives it to the teams. Hydra thinks he's better than some of these teams and doesn't come ready to play at times. Um, so he likes playing against the big dogs, but yeah, like Hydra negative against Boston Breach should never happen.
mm.
That's
Interesting
my
take. We'll have to keep an eye on that for sure. Um, but I
that's
mean,
my own Drew research department.
yeah, okay, noted. But
Yep.
yeah, no, in this one, he definitely didn't show up, and the whole entirety of Thieves for the most part just didn't do what they needed to do in these maps, and it came back and cost them a series. So huge upset there, and like we were saying, that really caused some ripples in the way that this tournament played out for sure. Because it's likely, I mean, we'll see. We'll get to this. These teams showed up on Friday and Saturday, they didn't lose a series there in the losers bracket run, but yeah,
No, they lost Saturday, right?
no, they lost on Sunday. They lost
Oh yeah, they
they
did
won all
have
their
four. They lost the
matches
first game. They lost the
to
first
make
game
it to
on
top
Sunday.
four. Yeah. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, we'll get there. But yeah, let's hit the last match here of the day. Atlanta FaZe against Minnesota Rocker. Not a whole lot to say about this one. This is a good team versus a bad team. Paulex drops a .53 here on the series, and that's kind of when you just kind of knew. Well, actually, I guess Rocker loses again, but this is just a telling of what the roster change is going to be going forward. But awful series from Paulex, but not going to harp on this team too much. Or harp on Paulex too much because obviously there sounds like they're going to be changing. But I don't know if you have anything to say about this one.
Nope.
Great
We
series
got too
from
many games to
FaZe.
cover for me
Yep,
to got too many games to cover for us to
yeah,
waste time on that.
yep. But let's move on to day two here. LA Thieves, like we said, they showed up the next day, came out, beat Miami Heretics. And initially, when this happened, I kind of thought that Thieves had gotten whatever was in their system on Thursday out of their system. But you kind of look back in hindsight with this series, it is still kind of like a sloppy win when you look at it here. I mean, they lost the map one to time, so just a weird map for them there. And then S&D was kind of close. You had a control overtime win, and then the map 4 wasn't super close, but still like only a 40-point win or so. So yeah, just definitely a little bit with you can look back on it a little bit more. Obviously, we know what happened to this Thieves team, but I think looking back on it is a little bit clear. I mean, you look at the slaying; they didn't have everything figured out by this point yet. So it was a little bit sloppier, I guess, than what we expect for this LA Thieves team. But yeah, I don't know. They
Yeah,
do
not
get it
many
done.
thoughts from me. Their hard point was just off. It wasn't as
Yeah,
dominant as it normally is.
no,
Normally it's just beat downs.
normally they're the
Them going to
best.
vault time, I was like, something's off. Something's off.
Yeah.
So that's my
So
only thoughts.
But yeah, they get it done against Miami 3-1. Then we move on to Carolina beating
Nope.
Vegas. There's nothing to say here.
Don't even click on it.
Too late. We gotta show, they're 0-1. I mean, it's riveting content, riveting analysis here on the Vegas Falcons. Green carpet versus red carpet there. But Carolina gonna move on through that one. They just get a free win, and that's their only match that they win at this tournament. So it's like you basically went 0-2. You got double first rounded if you're Carolina, realistically. But yeah, let's move on to OPTIC Texas, their first match of the weekend. They do come out here and get a win. First note I have is Rocker were Vault Merchants this stage. That is the only thing they can do. OPTIC seems to have figured that out here and just vetoed it for the first three maps. Is that actually what they vetoed, I wonder? How do we see it? Map vetoes. They banned Vault Hardpoint. They
And
banned
vault
Vault
two.
S&D. Banned Vault Control. Yeah. So they were not playing this Rocker team on Vault, and they literally just can't do anything after that. So yeah. Skies definitely did look uncomfortable in this series a little bit. He drops a .74, but I mean, I don't know. I'm sure they're getting things figured out still. This is literally their first series together in a match, and so obviously Shotzi played really well, Dashy played really well in this series, so I don't know. Maybe that's telling to Skies being able to enable this roster potentially going forward. I don't know. We'll see. But I don't want to talk a whole lot on this because obviously this is not the roster that we're going to be having for this OPTIC team going forward here. And then
Um,
obviously, yeah, go ahead.
my two thoughts. Like I said, big dogs play well. Optic wins. And good for Geo, man.
Good for Gio. Oh, yeah. Drops a 1.37. I didn't realize he fried that hard in this one. Damn.
Oh man.
What map was it? The map one? He goes 43 and 24. I
That
guess he's
man, Geo.
he's the only one positive in the control. Yeah, he was frying, man. He was frying in the series. But
Really, really helped them.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, I mean, not a whole lot to say here with this one. It is good for Skies. It's cool for him to get his first like LAN win in front of the Optic crowd under his belt. But other than that, that's really all
Holy
this
shit.
was. We literally predicted this. We predicted them to win and then lose the next one, and that's exactly what happened. So no surprises there.
We got some scheduled. Yeah, these next three we can fly through. These are regularly scheduled programs right here.
Yeah, here we got Toronto beating LNG or LNG, LAG. Yeah, nothing we can say there. Toronto beat them 3-0. And then we've got Thieves against Carolina. These guys literally own
Daddy.
Carolina at LAN. They beat them in this one 250 to 65. This is the third time they've done this to them on LAN.
Yeah.
I think somebody looked at like the total points is like not even 200 that Carolina has scored against LA Thieves. Like they can't win a singular hard point with the three maps that they've played against them. So
They should call him Daddy.
they should. The Los Angeles Daddies. Does that have a ring to
Like
it?
like I don't know, but like it should just they should just have to refer to him as Daddy for the rest of the season.
Whenever they're VOD
Because
reviewing,
yeah,
discussing.
this is the biggest father son duo in Call of Duty.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I was a little shocked that Carolina got steamrolled like this in Search and Destroy too. I mean, because that's been kind of their strong suit. But I mean, just this Thieves team's search has improved drastically.
Dude, they're so far in their head. They're so far in their head.
Yeah, they own these
Uh,
guys.
I'd be surprised if Ravens beats them the rest of the year. I'm so serious.
Yeah,
Like Ravens has a mental block here.
yeah. It
So,
certainly doesn't look like they're capable of it. But yeah. Let's move on here to Optic Texas
good
versus
team versus bad
Toronto
team.
Ultra. Yeah. This was Toronto Ultra coming in here. They're a pretty good team. Optic's a bad team. Definitely no argument there. Um, oh, this is day
This was the
three now, isn't
beginning.
it? Yeah, this is day
Yeah,
three.
it
Yeah,
was.
so this is the first match on Saturday. So yeah, I don't know. I think the series kind of became evident for me. The Shotzi Pred duo was a little bit off. I mean, look, they're like Pred is positive, and then the rest of them are negative. I don't know. Something that just wasn't right with this roster. The control loss from this Optic team, I think I texted you during it, was the biggest
Oh, it's
scam I've
generational.
ever seen in a control game mode, like in my life. They had so many chances to win this thing 3-0, but realistically, it's not like it was going to matter. They weren't. This team is not capable of reverse sweeping the Toronto Ultra, even if they did win that one. So, yeah, good job, Toronto.
Scroll down. This was my thoughts are the yeah. This was the start of the heat up from Ultra.
Um,
Ultra needed this. So
yeah, definitely a good series from them for sure. And
we
they'll
got
knock.
plenty of more games that we'll talk about them more.
Yeah. But they knock Optic out. The first match of day two. Let's move on to the next match, though. Vancouver Surge. They beat the Boston Breach. Here in this was winners round two, I think. There was actually two really close hard points. Thieves squeak out the Thieves Breach squeak out the hard point map one. And then the map 4, Surge win by only 8 points, so a total of 10-point difference in the hard point scores here. So Breach's hardpoint did look good. I'll give them that, but that's about the only thing realistically. Neptune's pace is just absolutely insane. The guy drops 112 kills on the series in a 4-map series with a 1.18. Yeah, I'll save my final thoughts for Boston Breach's next loss, but
I'll say this though, like if we had a little obviously I'm excluding Surge, Phase, Map 5, Round 11 that comes later this day. But dude, this might have been my second favorite series to watch this weekend. Though that first Vault Hardpoint was generational. The Hasi was sweet. This was a fun ass series to watch.
I don't think I caught this series, but yeah, I mean just looking at the scoreboard, like this was very close. Could have gone the other way, but I don't know. Vancouver Surge has ice, and chances are they might have, with the way that their search has been and just their entirety in all three modes, they looked good in all of them, and I'd be confident in them to take out a map 5 if needed, but they did not need it in this one, and they will knock Boston down to losers bracket and secure a top 3 placing for Vancouver. Let's move on to Atlanta FaZe versus Cloud9 on the other side of winners round 2 here. Like I said, this draw for Cloud9 is rough. Attach had a pretty rough series, drops a .67. FaZe, I was noticing this. FaZe has a lot of close Hacienda hard points. This is I'm not exactly sure. Like I don't have the stats to back this one up either, but I've just noticed they have a lot of close ones. But they're gonna clutch it up in this series. I don't know if I wonder if Cloud9 clutched that one up, how it would have looked in the map 5. But what
They just have
ifs?
ice in all series, dude. Like any of these maps that are close, you don't ever see FaZe lose.
Yeah, yeah, no, they have ice. They know their win condition and are really good at if it is close, like doing the right thing in that high pressure situation to secure the win.
Yeah, and then some of these they're up a lot, and they just make the smart decision of like not letting the team back into it.
Yeah,
Like they let them get to 237, and then you know what I mean? They'll rotate early, have a perfect hold, call game. And
yeah,
they're just very good when these games get close. They don't fuck around.
yeah. No. But end of the
So,
day, yeah, I do think FaZe is obviously the better team here. They won the major, and they're gonna knock Cloud9 down to losers bracket here in this one. But let's move on to the Toronto Ultra versus Boston Breach series here. Good job to Toronto. I don't have a whole lot to say on them, but I know you kind of were saying you wanted to talk about them a little bit more. I don't know. I'll let you do that before I rip into Boston if you want.
well, they keep going, so we'll continue to talk about it. But Joey D cooking this ultra team just looked way different than what like this was almost my surprise of the weekend. Like I knew what I was getting with Surge, um, but man, like this ultra team just looked on like a different level. Beans looked good. Kleenex was in his bag. Insight, but like Joey D, man, just like this team. I was tuning in and out of the Scump watch party, but man, like they end up beating. I think they beat Thieves on Sunday, right? Um, yeah, they beat
Yeah.
Thieves on Sunday 3-0. And dude, the COD that these guys were playing on Saturday and Sunday was some of the best Call of Duty I've seen this year from anybody. So yeah, impressive.
Yeah, I think at hardpoint really specifically is what I was impressed with, just because I mean that was kind of our question mark with this team going into this major was how well they were going to be able to show up in hardpoint, and they did a really good job of that. I think when they showed up here to land, so mad props, kudos to them. But yeah, as for Boston, I've got kind of a little paragraph here. I'm going to rip into them. I don't know. I'm definitely fully on the hate train that you were on at the beginning of the season with these guys. Apparently they're sticking, like we said. I don't know why the hell they are. Your peak with this roster is qualifying for champs at maximum. This roster is going absolutely nowhere. This event specifically, they got carried by the most dog shit franchise league tournament format ever, where you can win one match and it guarantees you a top 6 because you happen to sneak into qualifying for the winners bracket and then you win one match and all congratulations, you're top 6 at the event. You're a top 6 team in Call of Duty now, supposedly. It's so bullshit. It's such a stupid format. And that one match being against somehow you get 100 Thieves or LA Thieves, the number 1 seed, the favorite at the tournament, and is just high, like shows up sleepwalking, like you said. Like, that's never going to happen again, man. That's so stupid. And for this team to think that is so good. Like we did a good job. We are on the brink of greatness. We're so close to cracking that top 4, making those Sundays with this roster. It's so bullshit. It's so delusional, man. Like realistically, like just think about it, bro. They barely squeaked into this event at the A spot in winners, like I said. So I mean, they're literally going to be 50-50 for even making winners bracket going forward at the next 2 tournaments. And then if they do make winners again, again, like I said, they're never gonna show up and just face the number 1 seed again. That is just fated. Like that's never gonna happen ever to them again. So I don't know where this delusion is coming from. Why this team is not sticking. They're gonna lose to any good team like Toronto Ultra here. They're gonna lose to everybody. They're at the bottom of the middle pack in my mind. Blow this shit up, bro. Build around Snoopy for the love of God. Do something, man. I don't know. Maybe keep awakening. get Cammy and Purge out of there at least, and I wouldn't even be mad to get rid of Awakening, bro. I'm not a believer in this team, and they're starting to piss me off with with their laziness and lack of moves that they're making. But I don't know what you think on it.
No, I'm actually higher than you on Boston Breach.
Yeah, you
You've
don't
not,
you
you've taken out over conductor of the hate train of Boston Breach.
yeah.
I don't know. I saw some signs from them this weekend. I think they're gonna be mid still, but hey, fuck it.
But it's like, dude, yeah, they'll probably be mid still. Like they might be a top six. They might get a top six again. I don't know. But it's like, what the hell is the peak? Why are you sticking? You're never gonna be top four. You're never gonna be cracking that. Like, what is the
And
benefit of
some people
sticking?
they're not gonna cough up the money to do it. So I think they're content. Whatever.
But
Just
like, there's no like you don't need to spend money to replace. I don't know. I guess there's not a whole lot of subs, but like, just pick up fucking anybody, bro. Anybody is better than what Purge and Cammy are giving you right now. I don't know. It's just so lazy to me. But yeah, I don't know. They piss me off. I guess I've overtaken you on the hate train. I'm conducting this shit now, and I'm not a big Boston fan. But they're gonna get knocked out here to Toronto Ultra. Toronto Ultra, great series from them. Let's move on though to the Cloud9 versus LA Thieves team. And again, I know I said it before. Unfortunate draw for C9, man. They play FaZe and Thieves, probably pound for pound the two best teams in the league. I know Thieves didn't do great, but the Thieves team that they got here today
not
was
probably.
was
They did not probably. They are. And what you're about to say was this is the thieves that me and you picked to win this
yeah,
damn tournament. They
exactly.
showed up. They beat this team beats FaZe if they play like this.
Yeah,
This is the look at the hard point. That's the hard point we
yeah,
expected to see
yep,
from LA Thieves the entire weekend. It wasn't there. They played the real Thieves and they played the real FaZe who ended up winning it. Too bad for New York. Thieves, good job. We got more thoughts on you in a second.
yeah. I mean, I wrote a couple notes on my thoughts on Thieves. Like I'm not like yeah, they showed up today like how they should, and I think that's the biggest point. Like we're not trying to discredit Thieves by being discontent with like how they played on the other days. But I am more so saying this stuff because I believe that they can be the best team in this game. Like they're just not at that clean level yet of what we expected like this, like these hard points, these 250 to 100s, like the 250 to 60s that we saw against Carolina. They're just not consistently doing that when they show up here on land. So it's totally a mental thing for me. I do think pound for pound, this is the best roster in the league. I think this team is better than Atlanta FaZe. When you actually look at them on paper and what they're capable of, they just don't show up like Atlanta FaZe shows up. And but yeah, I'll save the rest of my thoughts for or let you give your piece on them when we get to them in this next series here. But Toronto plays them here in this one. It kind of speaks more to what we're saying when we see this team not show up. I mean, this was arguably worse than their match against Breach on Thursday. Nobody positive. Nobody looked like they were shooting, and Toronto just looked like they were having a field day. This looked like a rank play match for them. It wasn't even close to how they were doing on Thursday. I mean, you had a monster series from Joe Deceives here. Um, but yeah, just not just this Thieves team. This Sunday and Thursday Thieves teams that showed up are different than the Friday and Saturday teams that we saw. That's the bottom line of it, but that's kind of my
Real
thoughts.
quick
I'll let you go.
before I rant, is this game when you watch this, is this more did you take this as more you learn more about FaZe? Or I mean you learn more about Ultra or you learn more about Thieves here?
Mm, I'd say I'd say Ultra, just run in general, but this series obviously, like I came in here expecting Thieves to win this because they were seemed like they were back doing their thing, but
You learn
Ultra
more about
Ultra
Ultra in this matchup.
yeah, because like I still know what my expectations are for LA Thieves. Like that hasn't changed at all. My thoughts on Thieves, like I said, I think they're the best team in this game, still pound for pound. Like, but I didn't expect Ultra to be able to do this going into this tournament.
I think that's I don't know. I don't my thoughts on Thieves is that it's almost more frustrating than some of these like Rocker, it's these teams almost more frustrating to me than Rocker or something like that. Like, dude, show up. Like, it really is frustrating when you know they can be the best and they're not the best.
I mean, it's
Um,
top four though. Like it's top four. That's not the worst thing in the world. Like OPTIC right now would have sucked a dick to get a top four at a tournament. Like
Agreed. But with this roster, yes, it's top four, but like that's zooming out, in my opinion. That's zooming out and not putting any context on it. Like you look at these roster, like this team should win a major, and they've got plenty of opportunities to turn it around. But man, it's just like when you know you can be the best and you see what they do to Cloud9 and to Ravens, this should never happen.
yeah, but it's like this is such an anomaly for me. Like I don't think we ever see this again from Thieves. If we do, I'll completely backtrack this point. But I don't think we ever see them show up to a tournament
Okay,
like they did
I
on
agree with
Thursday
that.
and
I agree with
Sunday.
that too. I agree with
That's
that
just my
too. But
prediction though. I could be wrong.
I, yeah, it's a prediction, and that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying too. Is I hope they cut this bullshit out.
yeah.
So that's my thoughts.
But yeah, I mean, do you have anything to say about the Toronto Ultra? Like you said, you had a rant,
Dude,
or
they
was
were
that the rant?
like, yeah, no, that rant was just about thieves, and like
Okay.
it depends on the strand of weed they are smoking that day. Depends on how good they are. Um, Ultra look like a fucking monster in this series, though. They literally look like I mean, this was fucking a dismantling. This shit
Yeah.
was bad. And they didn't take their. I like that they didn't take their foot off the neck during this series. You like let thieves get back into this shit a little bit and like a control and like get to another hard point, and I'm glad they just said nope, you're
Mhm.
dead. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, great series from Toronto Ultra. I was impressed with this run as well. I mean, I wasn't sure like when you were saying that because I couldn't really remember off the top of my head like who they all had to play, but I mean, they went through the grueler, man. They lost that what did they dropped first round, right? They
Hmm.
they lost to Carolina and then they pretty much kicked it into gear from there until they ran into Surge on Sunday. So, yeah, very impressed with Toronto Ultra here in this one. But let's move on to the what is this? The winners finals here.
Connection.
FaZe beat Surge
Oh yeah.
here 3-2. We finally get a map 5 and a round 11 at that, man. FaZe beat them in Neslo fashion. They take both of the searches here, lose both of the hard points, and pretty convincingly, man. Vancouver Surge's hard point looked great in this series. And FaZe, yeah, just they just clutch up in the search and destroys. Realistically, even if Surge clutches up here round 11, I don't know if things go any differently. I will say though that like I made my notes for this and kind of made a point later on now that I just want to bring up while we're discussing it here. But maybe it would have been different because what it seemed like was FaZe wins this, they get a series off, they get to go watch film, they get to go study this Vancouver Surge how they played against them the first time. Surge has to play a losers round or a losers finals, to qualify to get back into that grand final. So they have no time to be doing that.
Especially
Um,
against a hot ultra team too.
yeah, exactly. So, that's what they got to focus on. But FaZe has a little bit of time to breathe here and look at their hard point. Look at why the hell they're getting slammed by 100 points to Vancouver Surge. And then they show up in the grand finals, and spoiler alert, they win 2 hard points in that series. So, maybe if Surge does clutch up here, then they have a much better shot at beating FaZe. I don't know. But FaZe is gonna get it done in this one, and just like we said, man, they just have unbelievable ice in these close games. They're gonna clutch up and win it. But yeah, great series from FaZe here.
Yep, that's my thought too.
Yeah,
Is that? Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I was really impressed with Surge. Good for them this weekend.
yeah, this was a great run for them here, and let's move on
It
to
doesn't
their.
end. Going, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm gonna say. Let's move on to their next match where they do get a win. Their win on Sunday against Toronto Ultra, a good team that we were just kind of glazing. But they come out as the better team here. They grab the win here in both the hard points. Again, their hard points been looking great. They do fall in the search and destroy, but doesn't matter. Obviously, Neptune and Nasty just have a series, the two of them. Neptune with a 1.29, Nasty with a 1.38 there. Yeah, this one kind of felt like they wanted their get back against FaZe, and they weren't, you know, this
We're
was
gonna
like a
be
four.
denied.
Yeah, they weren't going to be denied. They were going to come out and win this one and get their get back or get the chance to get their get back against FaZe. I think at the moment right now, my thoughts on Toronto since they do get knocked out of this tournament right now. I think this is kind of the peak performance right now for Toronto, just how they're at. Top three, great performance from them in this series.
I think they can hang around that though.
I know that's what let me get there. That's not to say that with improvement over the year with this roster that they could not make a grand finals or even win an event. Just not right now currently of Major 2. But Toronto should be very optimistic after this event, in my opinion. They have a lot of reps. What?
Fuck does that mean?
What
I'm
do you
calling
mean?
you out.
What?
You said currently where they're at right now after Major 2, top 3. Yeah, that's just what they got. But you said, and then later in the season they could do better.
What do you mean? That's what I'm saying. Toronto right now, this is their peak. This is their peak performance. They did not have what it takes to beat Vancouver Surge or Atlanta FaZe at this event, at this current stage right now at Major 2. They were never in a million years going to beat this Vancouver Surge team or beat Atlanta FaZe. But this team with this roster can do that later on in the year. That's what I'm saying. They do not need to make a roster change. They do not need to consider that. They are a powerful team that is capable of doing this later on down the line. You should be extremely optimistic after this top 3 placement to move forward. You have 6 series of LAN reps to reflect on, watch the film on, look at potentially what you did wrong, but also a lot of reps against good teams that you did win in those series. Stick together and improve. So all I'm saying is, I think they met their peak. They met what they had expectations wise for themselves in this event, and they have a lot
You
to
were more
improve on.
recapping. I thought you were giving a take. I thought you were hitting a take.
What?
I didn't realize it was a recap.
Yeah, like I'm not saying that they're gonna be locked to top 3 or like they can't do better.
That's kind of what I thought you were saying. Was that like
no.
You're like their peak right now is top 3, but maybe they can get better throughout the rest of the season. I thought you were like kind of giving a take. It's like, well, if they're here, then if they get better, they're gonna win. So yeah, no, I didn't realize you were kind of.
No, I'm just saying I think they met their expectations of what.
This is a bright spot for me. I thought this.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is great for Toronto.
Yeah. So let's get on.
Great tournament for them. Definitely excited to see how this roster looks. But yeah, in the actual grand finals, this was not interesting at all. Like we said, FaZe must have been watching their film because they had no problem with Vancouver in the hard points, contrary to what we saw in that last series. So they've definitely made some adjustments there. This is an insane series from Celium here. Drops a 1.72. I believe that is the CDL record of a grand finals KD, if I'm not mistaken. Not the highest all time.
He was doing disrespectful shit too.
Yeah, like
that 0-4 shit talk. That's the only point I have on this series. Is like that shit was fucking disrespectful.
Yep.
And if Celium's ever talking to me like that, he's getting turned around. I'm turning around, smacking the fuck out of his ass. I would never take that shit if I was 0-4. 0-4's definitely got some pounds on him. I would have loved to see them fucking throw down WWE UFC style on the tunnel. One of these little COD kids, and he taught a fucking lesson, and I would have loved to see a scrap. That would have been fucking hilarious.
Yeah, a nade shot versus Aches back in the day rematch. Yeah. That would have been insane. But yeah, no, like Celium, he was talking his shit, but at least he was backing it up. And he comes out and drops the CDL record for KD ratio. So he was insane. Definitely a deserving MVP here for sure. I'm not at all shocked with how FaZe came into this tournament. Like I said, they were the runner-up favorite, had a chip on their shoulder, came out and did the damn thing. Granted, we saw some unexpected paths to some other teams that might have been competition for them, but at the end of the day, they're the ones that came out and won the damn tournament. So yeah, man, we might be looking at another Cold War for Atlanta FaZe though. Who knows? They might just run shit for the rest of the year. We'll see. But either way, congrats to FaZe. I don't have a whole lot else on this series if you don't.
I don't either. I told my thoughts on it earlier, but the Celium performance can really segue us into our next, what we're going to cover to wrap up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what we're going to cover to wrap up is we're going to put together
Wait,
a
hold on,
little.
hold on, hold on, hold on. I do want to say, before we say goodbye here to the Vancouver Surge, great job for them as well. I know we
Oh
kind of
yeah,
brushed
yeah.
over their losers finals win
Oh,
there, but great event for Vancouver Surge. It was great to see them actually show up at LAN. Like that was kind of a question mark for us.
that was
We
the
weren't
best.
sure.
That was the best performance of the weekend. I knew what I was getting with FaZe. That
Yeah,
Surge team getting top two. That was
yeah,
my takeaway from the weekend.
yeah. Make a fucking change, teams. Look at this. Look at Neptune. Look at Neptune. Well, not in this series, but make a change, bro. You never know what it's going to be able to do for you. This team was a bottom of the barrel team before he hopped on here and brought them to a grand final at a major, the first stage back. Like, make a fucking change. Kudos to Vancouver Surge for getting second at this tournament. But go ahead, Drew.
Okay, so we're gonna segue to the little Drew section of the week. Threw out a little disclaimer or a little idea to Sam. Let's cook up the our All Star team, our all NBA teams of um, who you got after Major Two. So 4 players, 2 ARs, 2 subs, and I personally took it as like a right now who I want right now. I really put into consider, or I really put a lot of my stake into like who's hot right now after Major Two, and who kind of deserves some shout. I don't know how you took it, as in full season or what, but do you have multiple play? I want to ask, do you have multiple players from the same team?
Yeah. I have two
Okay.
from one team, one from one, and one from one.
Okay. I'll let you start with your team.
Okay. So I took mine more, well, it's kind of like that. I just did basically like course of Major 2. So like all the way from starting first online
Okay.
match to grand finals of Major 2. So um yeah, yours might be a little bit different than mine cuz like
It
of
definitely
if
will be. I wanted to throw some shouts in there. So
yeah.
mine will definitely be different.
Okay, so with mine, that's what I did, and it's just kind of giving kudos to the performance that these guys had over this stage two. But for the AR, the main AR, I went with Celium, obviously. Like I don't think you can do anything else there. Like we said, he broke the record, and he was just insane. He was definitely the propelling factor for this Atlanta FaZe team, and he was the difference in this run for sure. So I got to go with Celium there. For the flex,
He's
I'm
got
a
two. He's got 2 MVPs on majors this year. Like you can't
Did he
debate.
get did he get MVP last one? I thought it was Sim.
He at least got the breaking point one, and he got the breaking point
Okay.
MVP for the
I think they
for
gave it to
last
Sim,
one.
but I remember thinking they should have given it to Celium as well. But
Like he's just been on a generational run. You can't debate that. He's also my main AR, or just one of my AR slots is Celium. He's been
mhm,
on generational, so no debate there.
yeah. Um, but then I went Scrappy here for this one. He was probably their Thieves' best player, him or Hydra, but just I gave Scrap the benefit of the doubt because Hydra was kind of slow at the start of the year, and wanted to give Scrappy his flowers for, being the best player on this team over the course of the entire year, for right now, and he obviously looked great in Major 2 as well. Didn't show up on LAN as much as we want, obviously. Finished top 4, but I mean he was 7-0 in online qualifiers, just absolutely frying. I think he leads the league in KD right now in total, over the course of the year. So, yeah, I think he's been holding it down for LA Thieves, and he's arguably like
He
one of
does
the
not.
MVP candidates. What?
Celium does. Celium and Scrap second. And
Celium
KD.
is one right now at KD.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So I mean, I'm taking the 1 and 2 spots for my ARs, I guess, right now. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm gonna go sell and scrap at AR, and then for sub, I'm gonna
That's
go.
where it gets interesting. That's where it
Yeah.
gets really interesting, in my
So
opinion.
so I went since FaZe won this major. That's what I have the
Yeah.
2 players from. I had to go Simp here. I mean it's just insane. This guy's ran the CDL and nothing has changed this year. He is still running the shit. Arguably the best sub in the game right now. Another argument for MVP for sure. What else can you say about him? There's not a whole lot to say. He just won a major, got another chip. So I
Mm.
don't know. I gotta throw Simp in here on this one.
Who's this last spot gonna be?
And then this last spot, I'm gonna go Neptune, man.
Hey.
I'm gonna go Neptune here in this last spot. I mean, just what, like I said, I was saying there at the end, what he has done for this team. He came in and absolutely changed a bottom of the barrel, maybe bottom of the mid pack, depending on what you thought, team, and he has came in and brought them to a grand final caliber roster just like that. Winning MVPs of these series left and right, just the clear cut. Like, dude, the pace he brings, like I said earlier, is
Yeah,
insane.
101 in this series, won something, 100 and something in another series this past
Yeah,
weekend.
I mean,
Like,
like
yeah.
what he is bringing to the table for this Surge team, he has completely transformed a team, and you do not see that a lot with, with picking somebody up off of challengers. So I gotta give that last spot personally to Neptune. He's just brought life into this team and showed up on land too, man. I think that was a big part. I don't think I would have had him on this team if he didn't show up on land like he did as well. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So I have to agree with you. I went Celium. There's no debate there. There's no debate from Scrap. They've top two in KD like we said.
yeah.
Scrap. They were 7-0 before they got to land. I know a little disappointing in land, but you got to give LA Thieves a shout out. And yeah, I didn't think Hydra. I thought the AR spots were more locked up than the SMG spots.
Yeah.
So I gave Scrap the nod for the one LA Thieves player I was gonna have. Simp, it's Simp. Gave him an SMG spot, and then I had it down between two. I had it between Neptune, but now since you've given it to Neptune, I'm gonna go with my boy Joe DeCease, man. He's like,
Okay.
I feel like he's the person that's upped this Thieves team, or I mean the Ultra team to the next level. Like he deserves a shout out from this past weekend. He was also getting MVPs left and right, and I know Surge knocked him off. But yeah, I mean Joey D was locked in, man. Like, and even throughout these qualifiers, he was just in his bag in a ton of these games, and like it's just taking MVPs. Um, so I think old Joey D deserves a shout out. I've been on the Joe D train all year, so I'm riding with my boy. He's getting my last All Star spot.
That's fair. That's a fair one. Yeah, I didn't really, I kind of brushed past my mind, but that's definitely
I mean, he's up there on if you like open up the leaderboards of players, there's Joe DeCease scattered all over.
yeah,
Um, so like there he is. He's a hard point. He's
yep.
got some SND stuff. Yeah, he's top 5 in SND KD. He's just scattered, man, and got to give some shout out, especially like see like there's probably better SMGs out there, but team success in
Mhm.
consideration as well. Got to give Joey D the shout out.
Mhm. Mhm.
So
No, yeah, I definitely I like those teams. I think yeah, our spots for those three spots are pretty locked up, but yeah, I could see an argument for Neptune or Joe Deceives, man. They look good, but yeah, I like that segment. I think that's a cool thing to do at the end of the major. I do want to introduce some more fun shit like that to kind of do as well, just, in general. Doesn't obviously we can't be doing an all-star team every single week, but
oh no, we can come up with. I'll cook us up. I cook us
right.
up some every week,
Yeah, let's
and we'll have some fun.
brainstorm and see if we can think of some other shit like this because this is a
Definitely.
good segment. But yeah, man, that's pretty much everything that I wanted to hit here for the major two. It was fun. Nonetheless, I mean, obviously the quality of matches weren't that great. I mean, we saw literally 3-0, 3-1 for every single match until Sunday, and then the teams that went to the 3 to map 5, the other team ended up 4-0ing them in grand finals after that. So relatively
Yeah.
boring matches, but land COD is much better than watching online COD. It's just more fun to watch. So, but yeah, man, this weekend coming up here is the last break in CDL matches until the week before champs. So we're going nonstop. This weekend is the last break, and then we have Call of Duty every single weekend for Major 3 leading up to Major 3 or Major 3 qualifiers into Major 3, and then it starts immediately from Major 4 qualifiers, then goes right into Major 4. So we got a lot of COD to be covering here coming up. So we'll get into the predictions for that next week. Obviously, not going to spend any time on that today because that's pretty far out. But yeah, that's pretty much everything. Great major, great to watch, and excited for a lot of COD. But Drew, anything else?
Oh, that's it from me.
All right, that's it for me as well. Drop a like, drop a subscription, subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Follow all the other socials; they will be linked below, of course. And yeah, all that being said, peace out, everybody. Take care.
Firm in the cut. Stay at the top like I'm stuck. It's time giving it up. She wanna get married tonight, but I can't take a nigga, I'm wearing all white.